People are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before.
They are unvetted. We don't know who they are. They are released into the interior of the United States.
These are the kind of deranged individuals that are on our streets in America. They shouldn't be walking the streets with our children.
This is a preschool, you stupid motherfuckers!
Rapacious gangs and ruthless criminals are terrorizing our streets.
There's no place for organized street violence in America. Every American city should be safe and free.
We're literally an uncivilized country now, and we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country.
Greetings, conversationalists, deep thinkers, and fellow conservatives. A little Rush Limbaugh greeting. My name is David Russell, and you have found the David Russell Show. That intro, President Trump, can be taken two different ways depending on what side you are on this issue. In my mind, that makes this issue a very important one that we need to resolve. I believe that the Democrats are thinking that this is a linchpin issue that can help them win in the midterms. And of course, the national media is trying their best to help them win. I believe it's important on both sides to understand what the talking points are and how it's being handled. It's very easy for me to describe our side. I think 60-70% of Americans believe, first, that the illegal aliens broke the law coming into our country. And we're a nation of borders and laws that everyone should follow. There's also a large group of them that are criminals from their own country that they came from. This is why they came here. The next talking point is not enough people are talking about is the underground economy. Now, the ones that are here that's wanting to work, they are not wanting to let anyone know that they're here or, raise up a flag. So they work often off the books. They're not paying any income tax. So it's not helping our government having these people here other than the work that they're doing. That's something that we need to fix because all of us that are producing are paying income tax, and if we had more people paying income tax, maybe that'd make that income tax load a little smaller on all of us so we can all pull the wagon. The other issue that is really important is the ones that are here that's getting government aid. And we saw that in the Somalian group. 81% of them are getting government aid. I would bet you in some of these blue states, a lot of the illegal aliens is getting government aid there too. And that's just not fair. That aid is there for American-born citizens, in my opinion, that maybe has trouble, maybe they're elderly, maybe whatever, and either they or their family has been paying into the system for years, and now it's time to get some back. These new illegal aliens or new Americans or whatever you want to call them hadn't been paying into the system. They're just getting to take out. So that's something that needs to be fixed. Some people talk about these illegal aliens commit a higher percentage of crime because they start off with a crime and they feel like, well, they haven't been charged or caught, they can do more and not a big issue. Now, this is a difficult part because, one, we don't know how many people's here. Number two, when they're caught, like in the state of Texas, we can't even ask them if they're illegal aliens, and we can't even mark down in the report that they can't speak English. Now, I'm a city councilman and we track just about everything, and I asked one time, can we track that? And they said, no, it's illegal. The state doesn't have that on the form for our police to follow that. That needs to be fixed at our level, but we can also fix it in other levels also. You know, even when they're caught, if they, you know, let's say they commit murder, they commit whatever crime, they pay to be bailed out, or in some states, there is no bail laws, you know, where they can just be charged and then let out. A very high percentage of them don't show up for court because they think if they show up for court, they're going to be deported anyway. So, you know, there's a whole nother issue there. And of course, that's what ICE is going after, is a lot of these murderers and killers and rapists or whatever that we need to get and just removed from the country. You know, they're not going to go through the system. They're not trying to do anything legally. We've got to just get them out. You know, the one other issue that people are not talking about, but might be the reason that Trump's working so hard on it, is the voting issue. Now, for the last 8 elections, we know that there has been illegal voting going on by illegal aliens. You know, the Democrat likes to say, oh, there's not, and all this other stuff, but we know there is. We've got to come up with a system to eliminate this illegal voting, and I think I have one here. There are many illegal aliens that are hardworking, and you know, we need to find a way to help them. I'll go into that a little bit later also. We cannot just say deport everybody. We've got to come up with some solutions that will fix this problem once and for all. I think I have it right here. Now, the other side likes to use their talking points, and their first one has some merit, but it's out of context. The first one is America was built by immigrants. That's correct. American Indians had something to do with it too. But when the immigrants came that built most of this America, most of the U.S., they came here with one plan or one reason. That was, they knew there was a lot of free land or low-cost land, and they knew that it was going to be free. It wasn't about getting free benefits, free housing, free electricity, free food, free, you know, incredible amounts of payments, aid. It was, they wouldn't get anything other than, here's some land, go do something with it. America had a bunch of land, but not enough people to develop it. And they did it. Now, a lot of people might talk about, you know, the people that came during those times. Well, let's kind of look at the numbers. When America won, when the U.S. won the war for independence, there was only 4 million people in America. 4 million, that's the size of Houston. Then when the Civil War came around, there was only 15 million people. Now, that's about the size of New York City. The big growth was from the Civil War to about 1925. Now, America started slowing down the immigration at that time because we was getting more segmented. And there was a major slowdown from 1925 to 1965. The reason was they was concerned about having segments of America that was not homogenized. We want America to be the melting pot where you're maybe Irish American, maybe Mexican American, maybe whatever, but you're still American. But what we're seeing now, we're seeing people from other countries, Somalia, Mexico, wherever, and it's not about America. They're not holding the American flag up. They're holding the Somalian flag or the Mexican flag. That's not America. You know, when you see people that's proud to become American citizens, they're waving their American flag. We need more of that. The other issue is, of course, we've seen or heard about, seen too, like Joe Biden during his administration. He was advertising in other countries for people to come to America. They would even send a plane to come to America and get benefits. That's just insane. But of course, we know what their plan was. Their plan was illegal voting, and their plan was they would vote for Democrats because look at what all they was giving them to vote. Of course, they're our tax dollars, and keeping them in power. Because for the last 100 years, Democrats used to be pretty good working class party, but they have ran off the working class people and sent them to there we go. I almost said American Party, Republican Party, because they want to go for all these little subsections and promote them up. And of course, hardworking people are not interested in trying to promote some type of a very minority group. And when I'm saying minority, someone that's 1 or 2% of America, and they're trying to cram it down our throats. This is why we're seeing this that's going on right here. I think that what we need to do is beat Democrats at their own game. And it's going to take some heavy lifting by Congress. But you know, Congress has done that before. Look at the big, beautiful bill. That was a hard bill to pass, but it got passed. And I think what we need to do now is to pass, now hear me out, some of this, people might start off not thinking this is right, but we need to pass a law, this one I think you'll agree with, that only American-born citizens can receive any form of government aid. Now, you say, how's that going to work? Because so much of the aid comes from the state to the citizen, but through the federal government. We're going to have to start tracking it. You know, we've got 78,000 new IRS agents, and I know that's internal revenue, but we could have them transfer over to a DOJ-style government agency that tracks where every single government aid check goes to. Now, what this is for is to make sure we are not giving aid to these illegal aliens or these new immigrants. This is just insane. That would stop some of the reasoning of people wanting to move to America to get this free life upgrade. And it would be an upgrade from where they came from. You know, Trump's done a wonderful job with the wall. And he's done a wonderful job with the immigration people. And of course, they've cut down the people trying to break into our country illegally. But he's only going to be president for 3 more years. We need to pass laws to make sure that this will go on for many years to come. Because if we don't, you know, if Democrats gets in charge, even if it happens through this midterm election, they're going to try to reverse every single thing we've done. It needs to be done through the law. So, step 1 is to make sure that only American-born citizens can get any form of aid. You know, sometimes we get irritated seeing that some of the American-born citizens getting aid. But that's a different story. At least in those situations, you know that either they or parents or grandparents has paid into the system, and maybe for one reason or another they need aid. And you know, we try to do well on everybody. The next thing we need to do is on the job of ICE. This is going to drive you insane, but I think we need to do it for a multitude of reasons. Whenever we get down to it, you'll see. We need to change the job of ICE slightly. We need to have them document every single illegal alien in the country. Now, there's an easy way and a hard way to do that. First, we need to open up offices and maybe in some large cities, multiple offices of ICE branch offices for documenting. And we need to pass this law saying that every illegal alien has 6 months to come in and fill out paperwork to make them documented immigrants. Now, this is not citizenship. This is only documented citizenship. What would this have on this document? Number one, their name, everyone in their household's name, so they will all be documented, where they live, what country they came from, how to contact them, any relatives that live in the country, legal or illegal, and even from the standpoint of any associations like church. Not that we're ever going to go into a church to raid it or anything else, but it'd be nice to be able to say, does this person still go there? The reason I want all this information is, one, we need to know where they're at. You know, we don't need this people out in the bushes that you don't know who they are or anything else. We need everything documented. Also, police departments need to know who do we have here legal and who we don't. So that way, if there's something comes up, they can find out immediately. The other thing is if they change their employment, where they live, or their contact information, they have 30 days to come in and upgrade this document status. This will prevent them from being deported because at least we know where they are. This list, which, how many is there? 10 million, 20 million, 30 million? We don't know. We need this list to know. But this list should go, number one, to the IRS to make sure that everyone on here, if they're working, they're paying into the IRS. Suddenly our income for the government has went up just because that underground economies went away. You know, Biden hired all these IRS agents because he wanted to go after waitresses and these people that didn't make much money. Well, I'm not saying I want to go after anybody, but I do want these skilled laborers that is doing a great job in the building trades to come out of hiding, be able to pay their income tax, and not have to worry about, oh, I don't want to work today because ICE is running around. You know, if they want to be productive, great. I want them to be productive, and I want them to pay income tax. Hopefully, with everybody paying income tax, maybe we can lower that rate a little bit more. That would be ideal. The second thing that we need to do is send this into this new agency that tracks benefits. Make sure nobody on that list is getting any type of aid, because there again, are you paying in or you're just taking out? This would make a difference on that. Third, send it to every single Secretary of State to make sure not a single one of these illegal aliens is voting in any of the elections. Now you might say, wait a minute, what is going to prevent somebody that's documented from wanting to cheat? Well, the next step, which there's multiple pieces of legislation that Congress will need to do that will make a difference in this. The next one is the Immigration to Citizenship Act. Now you might go, boy, you're thinking I might be losing you here, or you're going, David, you're going too far. But hear me out. This is a 10-year process. Number one, they have to pay for background information or background investigation back to their own country to make sure they hadn't broken any laws there. Number two, they have to not break any laws in America. This is an important thing. 10 years to kind of see if they're going to be good Americans or not. Number three, they have to take citizenship classes. So the goal is not to say, here you go, here you're the next citizen from Somalia, like we saw Obama do, and here's your welfare check. you're actually getting someone that's trained to be a U.S. citizen, to be part of our country. Fourth, another important part, must be fluent in English. No more of these translators. I get so sick whenever you go into a store and you see it in English and in Spanish. I'm thinking, if you really want to have people assimilate, that's the goal, assimilate, you don't put Spanish up there. You just put English, and people need to learn it. If I was living in one of those other countries, odds are I'd have to learn their language, not they're going to have to learn mine. We need to do the same thing right here in America. And if they don't hit the mark in the 10 years, it just keeps expanding out. If it takes them 12 years, if it takes them 20 years, however long, and maybe if they don't hit it after a certain amount of time, they got to go back. It just depends. We probably need some scholars to help us with this, but basically say, how are we going to build a stronger America? Now, I think on this, we could actually see these new citizens become Republicans, not just Democrats. Now, that would be 2.5 presidential elections if we go through that. So, we'd still work with them, still try to make sure that they understand what's going on. But, we could see when they do become citizens, understand Republicans are the one that's actually fighting for them, not Democrats. We're not just trying, and Democrats, these new Americans probably don't realize that if they was to get it, if Democrats would be elected and they got citizenship, it's going to be almost a slavehood situation, because that's the Democrat mindset. They basically want to make any worker a slave, and I'm sure a lot of these immigrants that are hard workers will probably become that pretty quick. There's a couple other little things. I think that we need to change the name of ICE, being they continue to want to call it Nazis and everything else. They're doing a hard job. But maybe we ought to just change that name to National Immigration and Custom Enforcement. By changing that name, putting on everybody's vest instead of ICE, nice. Think about that liberal news commentator that has to put that down every single time. Oh, that's going to be interesting to see that. Now, Democrats, we talked about some of the things they did, and I don't think people realize when they talk about us being a nation of immigrants, what the Democrats did to the American Indian. If you look back 1827, or 28, I guess it was, the Indian Removal Act, the Supreme Court ruled that as unconstitutional. And Andrew Jackson, a Democrat, told the Supreme Court, well, now you made your ruling, now enforce it. I'm going to go ahead and ship all the Indians out. And of course, the reason for that was to steal their land. And Andrew Jackson become very wealthy over land over that thing. So don't let someone try to gaslight you about immigrants and American Indians. They got a pretty raw deal, but it wasn't, I don't see Republicans was the ones that was doing it. What ended up becoming the Republican Party, and of course you know what the Republican Party fought for was freedom for the American slaves, and many times tried to help American Indians. This is a nasty part of our history. This might have become a little longer podcast than maybe it should be, but we got to get this information out. And I can use your help. Number one, I need you to like it. Need you to subscribe to it so you get more messages like this. But the most important thing, share it. Share it everywhere. We really need some national politicians to hear this message and get on it as soon as possible. because I do believe this could be a major change in national politics if we made these adjustments and get it behind us once and for all. It almost seems like politicians like to have problems, so they have something to complain about. Well, I just came up with solutions on how to fix it once and for all. You know, if we can get some national politicians to push this, if they can see it and push it, we might be able to make a change and make it where this is no longer an issue. Now, you might say, what about the people coming in after all these laws? Well, they have to go through the same things. And, you know, if we've got more hardworking people in America that's trying to make America great, and some of these illegal aliens are extremely hardworking people, what's wrong with it? If it takes them 10 years to become good citizens, and then they get their citizenship, all I can say is welcome. I mean, there's a lot of people that we probably need to do the reverse to, find ways to unnaturalize them because they came in and say Obama made them citizens or somebody else did, and now they're just taking just on welfare and not making any money, or like in Minnesota, so much corruption. We need to find ways, if you're convicted of federal crime, that you lose your citizenship if you've only had it a short time. Some of the important things. Now, I hate to, this was such a serious one. I usually like to have things funny. I put a little funny video here at the end. I hope you like it. I appreciate you coming in and seeing what's going on. Again, please share this everywhere. I'm not trying to make money with this. I'm just trying to get ideas out that hopefully makes America great. Thank you, and I'll have another program in a day or two. Talk to you later. Bye.
So what is it that you and your fellow Democrats have to say that's so important?
Stop kidnapping our rapists and murderers! No!
I like bananas and rice.
I have a smooth brain!
Oh yeah, bananas and rice, so good in the tummy.
Man, don't forget your tampons! Hail Soros!
Num 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 num. You ain't seen nothing yet.